Okay, we are live. For those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I am your dungeon master for this evening. Tonight, we're continuing to play the Dragon Age role-playing game, published by Green Ronin Studios. With me tonight is a regular fixture on the Live from the Sword Coast podcast, Dave.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dave. I play Connor the Just, who is a human Ferelden freeman. He's a warrior. Not to delve too deeply into his background, but he's currently in the employ of the Oakhart family as part of their militia. Currently accompanying Alistair, who is heir to the throne, functions as his best friend, also his bodyguard. He's a bit of a consummate fighter, kind of your every fighter's fighter, if you will. Mm-hmm. So, on we go.
Sorry, Alistair is actually the third son of the Oakhart family. So, and also because he's a mage, mages do not get to inherit noble titles, unfortunately. So
that sucks for him.
He's twofold fucked on that count. If you are joining us for the first time, you may want to go back and listen to the previous two installments of the Dragon Age sessions, because this is our, I believe, third session playing this campaign. In addition, you can find links in the description of this video to stats for the characters and to I suppose earlier episodes as well. For tonight, we're missing a bunch of, pretty much everyone else. This is being recorded on either Thanksgiving weekend if you're Canadian, or Columbus Day weekend if you are American, or I guess just a weekend if you're anywhere else on the globe. Tonight we're actually it's funny because it seems like every session we're going in reverse chronologically. We're going further back in time. Because tonight we're going back a little further again too. So
that's okay.
This session takes place roughly about 2 months or 3 months before Alistair returned home. So 2 or 3 months before the last session, which was itself about a week or so before the session before that. This is the time when the news had come that Alistair would be returning from living in the Tower of the Magi in Ferelden, that he would be moving back to Oakhart Keep. This is also, Marzio is still part of the Oakhart family at this point. Dave, remind me when we go off afterwards to ask you, did you download Windows 10 yet?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay. Then I'll tell you a cautionary tale about Windows 10 after the session. I'm actually going to write that down so I can remember to tell you. Windows 10. Okay. So, as I said, this is about 2 or 3 months before Alistair returns home, before the Templar moves to live at Oakhart Keep. There's obviously some things that are, once the two other brothers found out that Alistair was coming home, there was I forgot my book downstairs that has all their names. That's not important for now. What is important is I think that am I correct in thinking Brandon is the name? Is that right? Of Ban Urquhart? Or that's not right, is it? Oakhart?
You know what? Let me see if I actually have those.
Brent sent that terrific.
Oh, he did. You know what? Give me one moment, Kev. I'll call it up here.
Sure. Swap my.
Actually, while I'm doing this, Kev, did Connor's statistics change at all?
No. Where you were at today is because you were on time for the session. You got 1 star, so you have 2 stars now. At 3 stars, you get a free advancement. and you are 2/3 of a step towards level 3, which means that you're going to hit level 3 at the end of the session. Depending how much we get accomplished, you may take another step into level 3 as well.
Oh, okay. So I mean, Connor's because I thought after last session he jumped to level 2, but and
It's level 2, and you're 2/3 of the way through level 2. You had 2 advancements, and I thought you picked them.
had I?
At each level, you could pick the what was it? Your focus. There's 3 things you get when you go up a level. You get your class ability, you get a focus, and you get, I think it's, what was the 3rd thing? I'll have to check my email quickly here. Let me see.
All right. So then it was. So there's Alistair. There's his father Landon.
Landon, right? Thank you.
His mother Megara.
Okay.
Ian and Niall.
Ian. Okay. Let me see here. Oh, and an ability raise, right? So your class ability, your secondary, a class ability, a secondary ability, and a focus from a secondary ability. Now, I actually don't know if you chose yours.
I don't think I did. This is why I was asking. But
oh, okay, great. No, that's okay. So, what you get to choose from then? Do you have the PDF of the rule book I sent?
I would have to call that up in the side.
Okay. Because what you get is one of your secondary. Well, okay. So those are the 3 things. Your class ability you get at 3rd level is a new talent. You become a novice in a new talent, or you can advance to journeyman in one of your existing talents. Your secondary abilities are communication, cunning, magic, perception, and willpower. Oh, maybe we did do this. Or wait, hold on. No, we didn't. So I think what you have, your secondary ability has to go towards magic if you want to qualify as a Templar at level 5.
Right, because I already had 1 level in magic, so that means I'm trying to get to 3. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
So I'd take another in magic.
Okay, so your magic is a +2. And then you get to pick a focus from one of these abilities, from communication, cunning, magic, perception, and willpower. And I think if you got the PDF, it is on, I believe, page 57 and 58 of the PDF. The book numbers are 56 and 57, but I think it's 57, 58.
Yeah, actually, you know what, Kev? I had actually taken 1 from strength previously to get my 1 in magic.
Yeah.
So would I be able to add it back to strength?
No, because it's got to go towards a secondary ability. Next level, you put it to one of your primaries. Yeah, and I think that the way it works is because at 3rd level, you got to put +1, and then it'll be 5th levels when you get to put the last one in. So you kind of are, if you want to go with Templar, you're sort of locked in taking magic as your secondary ability advances. Your focus, however, can go towards anything. Any of the secondary abilities.
Oh, son of a... Okay, I finally have that PDF up, for God's sakes.
Awesome. So it's either page 57 or 56 or 57. That's where it starts.
Oh, nope, that's...
The PDF should be called, let's see here. Complete Player's Guide from the Dragon's Age Core Rulebook, sent September 18.
Oh, there we go.
Terrific.
Page 57, you said?
57 of the PDF. It's page 56, 57 in the print book. Just a reminder, your secondary abilities as a warrior are communication, cunning, magic, perception, and willpower.
So 1 to any of those?
Not one. It's one. You pick one of the focuses.
Oh, God. I've got the player's guide. That's not what I want.
Yep, I think that's it.
It is?
I think so. Yeah, it does it. It's about 100 and no, maybe longer than that. It's about 200 pages long.
Nay, sir, it's 65.
Okay, so no, the one you want is sent on September. What did I say? September 18th.
18th.
Yep, September 18.
Okay.
Yeah, subject line is Complete Player's Guide from the Dragon's Age Core Rulebook.
All right. Over there.
Found her?
I did.
Awesome. Okay. So, yeah, you got to pick. Well, you can pick that, or you can take another talent. Go get your food. Emmy, go get your food. Where's your food?
Oh, here we are. Okay. Communication, cunning, perception, and willpower, you said, right?
That's right, yeah. Or magic. But magic, there's nothing there that would make sense for you.
Right.
Communication, cunning, perception, or willpower. And then you've got self-discipline already in the willpower one.
Between leadership and military lore, is there one that's more advantageous than the other?
Leadership is used in mass battles, and military. Oh, I think military lore is used in mass battles as well. Let me double check that. Because there are two, depending on what stage of the mass battle, there are two different skills that apply, and they are. Role playing. Yeah, military lore and leadership are both used at different stages of battles. Military lore is used in opening moves. Leadership is used in the main engagement, and then whoever wins the main engagement gets to decide which of those two is used in the third, if there is a third.
Okay.
So if you're seeing Connor's thinking of, becoming a general or something approximating that at some point, then those would both be useful down the road.
Well, so herein lies the rub. I mean, originally he wanted to strive for knighthood, but if he's going to join the Templars, then do, are those can those are they the same, or can they be, or
Well, they're not.
am I foregoing one for the other?
They're not the same. They're different. I mean, like military lore is the knowledge of strategy and tactics and things like that. Leadership is getting people to do the things you want them to do. So I guess one of them is sort of the, in terms of mass battles, the knowledge of how to successfully execute those kinds of engagements, or to get through those kinds of engagements. Leadership is convincing the people to follow your plan.
Right. No, but I
think the Templars. The Templars only really what they do is there are things called exalted marches that the church sometimes sends their Templars and other related warriors on. The main role of Templars is to hunt, apostate mages, and to shepherd the existing, like the circle mages, make sure that they don't fall to corruption or possession or anything like that. So their duties are more personal than large scale. So honestly, I don't know if either of those really, for the average Templar, if either of those would really ever come up in his or her duties.
Right, but that's the thing is, originally Connor had wanted knighthood.
Yeah.
Which is not equivalent to being a Templar. So I mean, obviously, switching from knighthood, that may have been all right if he was still striving for knighthood, but as a Templar, probably doesn't make sense anymore.
What would be, I imagine, a useful one is empathy for perception.
Really, eh?
Yeah, just because it discerns the feelings and emotions of others. That's sort of the thing you use to see if someone's lying to you.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the other things, like your communication focuses are the act of trying to lie to people and stuff like that. But empathy is the thing that you would use to see if someone's fibbing.
Right.
That's the and not only that, but also like to, I guess, assess to correctly read people, to read their emotional states. So I imagine someone who's trying to, that would come in useful or come in handy. Tracking may come in handy as well. If you don't have an ally who is, a woodsman type character or a ranger type character. But there's all sorts of other things like persuasion or, I think you've already got to focus on intimidate. Arcane lore might be an interesting thing. Knowing about magic, its traditions, and the Fade. The Fade is sort of the other world that is kind of an echo or a shadow of the real world of Thedas. Or just something else that's of interest to him. There aren't requirements for having specific focuses to become a Templar. It is just. Hold on, let me.
He is very much lacking. I mean, he's very much a physical character and lacking in any kind of real self-restraint. So. In a physical sense, I'm kind of wondering what would fit well with that.
Courage, might be a good one for that. Then the willpower focus. You got self-discipline, which is to resist temptation. Courage is the thing you use to resist fear. And there is that's another thing that may come up. The things that the Templars face are pretty fucking scary. Corrupted mages, blood mages, abominations, demons, the risen dead. There's all sorts of different. Basically, the Templars are there to deal with when things have gotten really sour, or if they're going to go really sour. So, courage would be something that probably would come up at times. Faith as well. Templars are technically members of the chantry of the church, so faith may be something that might prove useful as well, or at least might fit with the character. Any of the sensory things, I guess. I mean, you can choose either to try and find something that's going to help build towards your career, or something that just fits with Connor as sort of how you've envisioned him.
You know what? I think I will go with empathy.
Empathy. Okay, nice. Okay, so that is perception, empathy. Okay.
Because I think that kind of lends itself to his personality of being completely unbiased. Maybe to a fault, but.
Well, and the way you've been role playing him too is he is a character who does try and interact with as many people as he can. You've been role playing him as kind of a people person anyway. That would be something that would be natural that he would pick up, unless he was incredibly bad at reading people. But okay, so as I said, where we are right now is it's about 2 or 3 months before Alistair. We'll say 3 months before Alistair returns home. We haven't set what time of year. I think it was summer when he came back. So this is sort of like late spring, I guess, maybe, or mid-spring. The thaw has come to the Brazilian forest and to the town of Oakhart. Your duties are, you're at this point still trying to prove yourself and trying to find a way of making yourself stand out from the sort of the rabble. What was do you remember what your father's name was, or had we given your father a name yet?
No, I don't think we had.
Okay. In that PDF, there are a list of names, or Ferelden names, on page 42. Or I've got I took today to make a list of a bunch of Old English names as well, because I'm a giant nerd.
Did you ever?
Yeah. I was watching a movie while I was doing it anyway, so it really wasn't like me. Speaking of which, there's a documentary on Netflix called Big Men that is extraordinarily interesting. It's about the basically oil production in West Africa. And it's like, that was sort of my area of focus when I was in grad school. But it's following sort of from 2007-ish through the recession, like the global economic slowdown, and then up to around 2013, I think. Very, very interesting.
What's it called again?
It's called Big Men.
Duly noted. I'll make sure to check it out.
Yeah. No, I think you'd really enjoy it. Anyway, so if there's not a name there that jumps out, if you've got a first letter in mind, I can give you some other options here.
R.
An R? Ripley Rylan.
How about Roderick?
Roderick works. Yep, absolutely. Okay. Connor's father. Okay. So knowing what, for those listening at home, just as a reminder, Connor's father was one of the sort of the main house guards for the Urquhart family, for the minor noble family that our campaign kind of focuses on. And when Marzio, one of the other player characters, had arrived at Urquhart Oakhart, he was there to assassinate the head of it, Alistair's father. He was first intercepted by Roderick by Connor's father, who was crippled by the assassin, and then the assassin was killed by Marzio because Marzio was there to kill the. He wasn't sure why there was a second assassin there, and since that time, Marzio has stayed without having his secret revealed. Is Roderick the like? I mean, I think I know the answer to this, Dave. But is Connor more driven himself to do these, to sort of prove himself to the family, or is this something that Roderick is sort of pushing him towards, or is it a combination of the two?
It's definitely a combination of the two. On the one hand, Connor has a great reverence for his father. Really, Roderick is Connor's hero, and even in young adulthood, Connor still has that ideation of his father, simply because of all the stories that he's heard, not necessarily from his own father, but from other people that have been told through his childhood of deeds that his father had been involved in, and a lot of the heroics. So he's in large part he's trying to measure up. He's trying to fill what he feels are very large shoes, and in fact they are very large shoes, based on the role that Roderick had with what in Landon's militia.
Okay.
But there's certainly a bit of an expectation, because of the friendship between Landon and Roderick, that in essence Roderick has lent Landon his son.
Yeah.
And in large part because of the friendship, but also because of the kindness that Landon has and their closeness, that so he's essentially sent his son to be mentored, and knowing that for all intents and purposes Landon will take care of Connor, and so it's I would think it definitely be a combination of the two.
Okay. So as is common in springtime, you are now that the ground is thawed and that it's getting close to the time to start getting ready for planting and so forth. You in your off hours, or the time that you have free, you often come back and kind of help your father out with some of those tasks, because while he's still capable of doing them, it's just with his injury, it's significantly more difficult for him to actually do any of these things. So we opened the session with Connor kind of having made his way through the town of Oakheart and out to his father's farm, which is fairly close by. We'll say maybe about 15 minute walk outside the town. You reach there and you're walking down the road, and to your surprise, you actually see that though it is early in the day, there's no sign of your father in the field. You can see that in the small barn that he has. You can hear the kind of maybe the braying of his mule, but no sign of him actually working, which is unusual. What do you do?
Now Connor hasn't actually introduced himself to the farmhouse, has he?
He has, yeah. I figured that you've been here because this is your father's farmhouse. This is probably where, when you aren't staying in sort of the barracks for the men, this is where you would come and visit.
No, I mean at this particular time, Connor hasn't actually been to the farmhouse.
No, yeah, you actually, yeah, you just got off you had tasks that were taking you, several weeks to deal with. Maybe you were on patrol or something to that effect, or helping to investigate problems with either wildlife or or just getting, I guess, really practicing, keeping yourself in sort of fighting form with the springtime coming. This is probably the first time you've had a chance to get away from your responsibilities as a man at arms in the service of House Oakheart, and really see your father. So you expected there to be a lot of work for you to do here, and you find that looks like there has been. He started tilling the ground, but he's not working today, and that's very unlike your father.
Are any of the hands around?
There doesn't. I'm not sure that he actually has that many. We probably would have hired people at this time of year. Yeah, no one seems to be. Well, maybe there's 2 or 3 guys who are sort of working the field, but not your father.
Okay. You know what? I'll head over to them and ask them if where my father is.
So they say you're coming over, like, hey, Connor.
How's it going?
Come. We could use the extra help. Trying to put that, to turn that sword arm into a plowshare arm. And they kind of laugh at it.
Quite honestly, I don't know how you guys ever managed this farm without me.
Well, thank God we have His Highness the Knight to supervise us, my lord. And they both sort of flourish and bend over. And they laugh and they say, "Well, it's just if you're looking for your father, he's inside talking to old what do you call it? To Landon Shadow."
All right. Well, I'm gonna head in and see him, and then I'll come back and show you how real work is done.
No, don't worry. We've got plenty to save for you. And then as you're walking away, one of them shouts out, "And if you find beer on the way, it won't go amiss." So as you walk up to your father's house, you can hear the sound of conversation between, which you've heard many a time before, kind of carrying out from the open window. You recognize the voices of that of your father and of one of your father's, best friends. The common folk call him Landon Shadow, but you know him as Marzio. Are you gonna announce yourself or just walk in the house?
Would I have expected Marzio to be here?
No, I mean it's not unusual to find him here, but I mean Marzio generally knows when it's work time, so he doesn't take your father. Doesn't want to waste your father's time.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know what? I can hear the conversation, can't I? I mean, from my vantage point, they don't know I'm here.
They don't know. No.
You know what? I'm going to take a minute and just listen to the nature of the conversation they're having.
Sure. So, I mean, what it sounds like is the familiar conversation between very, very old friends. They're kind of, talking gossip in town, and there's nothing particularly pressing about it, or nothing particularly important about it. It seems like they're just sort of the same kind of idle chat that you've heard from these two for, as you grew up, I guess, in the 12 years since Marzio has come here. So they're talking about, people from town. There's a smith from Tevinter, Vintiver, one of the other major towns that has sworn fealty to Landon Oakheart. Apparently he's being a bit of a noisy, type. There's a little bit of talk about, some of the people that from the community. There is they talk a little bit about whether someone named Esmond is prepared. Esmond is the name of the seneschal, the guy who's sort of responsible for all the non-military related matters for Oakheart Keep.
All right. Well, I think at this point I've heard enough to realize it's not a conversation that I shouldn't be intruding upon. So I mean, if it's just banter between friends, I'll knock on the door.
Okay.
You know what? Honestly, I probably wouldn't have even have bothered to wait for someone to answer it. I'd just walk right in.
Sure. Okay. So you walk in, and you look over at the kitchen table, and you see the two of them sitting there with there is a small little bottle of wine that Marzio has brought down, and you can see that the wine is more than 2/3 gone already. And they look up at you, and your father says, "Connor, you're back."
Father, you usually leave the wine until after the work is done.
Well, you know how it is with this one, and he points at Marzio, and Marzio says, "Wow, so you can't. It's been so long since I've had a chance to get down. Plus, there is, we think, news to celebrate today as well."
Do tell.
Well, Connor, come sit down. And your father, gets up and kind of limps over to the shelf in the kitchen, brings down another clay mug, sets it down, which Marzio splashes some wine in and passes it over. And your father turns to kind of like looking half at Marzio and speaking to you, says, "So tell me, so my boy, what old the old crow here has said or asked is whether it wasn't just drinking in the morning that brought him down here, though of course he's always welcome to that. He came down to ask whether I felt that you were ready for a position of leadership."
To which you said?
He kind of grins. He says, "What do you think I said?" And Marzio kind of laughs at that and says, "Tell me, Connor, would you feel, you know that there are a number of matters that need to be addressed before Alistair, young Alistair, returns to Oakheart Keep. Yes?"
Absolutely. I can't wait for his return.
I thought as much. Well, one of the matters that needs to be dealt with is that there are some supplies that we will require in order to make the homecoming appropriate and to ready the facilities, or rather ready the quarters that we will be setting for the Templar, who will be joining us as well. To that end, Esmond has been instructed to travel to the capital, to Denerim, and to obtain the necessary supplies there in order to be ready in time for when Alistair and his watcher return or arrive. Esmond, obviously, with the troubles of the Brazilian, of these bandits, as well as the other troubles of the that are inherent on the road, Landon has agreed that there should be a guard, accompaniment of guards to escort Esmond. Now, obviously, we cannot send an entire detachment, but what he has agreed is to send 4 men from our house guard, and I have suggested your name as the man to lead those men to keep Esmond safe and to see him and his goods to Denerim and back. Tell me.
I would be honored, but Father, will you be all right putting the crop in the field?
He puts his hands up and he says, "Me and the boys still can take care of that, my boy. Your help is always appreciated here, but this old horse can achieve more than you think he can." And Marzio says, "I'll ensure that he has ample help in your absence." Now,
Well, in that case, I have no other answer but yes.
good. Then uh, Esmond expects to be ready to depart for Denerim within a day or so. The men that we can spare to accompany you are Knox, Linwood, and Miller. Okay. Of those three, Dave, Knox, Linwood, and Miller, Knox has been known to be in his cups sometimes. So it is someone that you may want to keep an eye on, or at least keep him his eyes on the prize, as it were. Linwood is a good kid, loyal, honorable, really takes pride in his duties. Miller is mostly a good, a good egg, as they say, but he does have a bit of a temper. So give me a second. I got to go to the washroom and grab some more water and maybe another coffee as well. So I'll be back in like maybe 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Come on, Nathan. Come here. Come. Come here. Come on. Let's go. Go on. Let's go. There you go. Get your food. No, you're not eating that anymore. Come here. Get your food. Get your food. Come here. Get your food. Come here. Come here. Get your food. Eating my shoes. Hey, David, sorry about that.
That's okay.
So I heard a noise downstairs earlier that did not sound like Emmy playing with her regular toys. As with kids, I now know that you should not. Anytime you hear a weird noise, it means nothing good. So I had to, because our office was repapered or re-carpeted, I had to bring all my like suits and dress shoes and shit home. So guess I'm getting new shoes.
Oh my! I hope that wasn't an expensive pair.
I don't remember actually.
Or your favorite one, for that matter.
It's really my only black dress shoes right now. So you,
Oh, Emmy.
so someone's gonna be wearing blue suits for the next little while. You jerk, eh? It's not her fault. I mean, I thought these were pretty well hidden. No, you can't play. It's not a toy. No.
Well, you might as well have her. You might as well let her have it now.
No, because I don't want to further encourage that kind of stuff. That's why we don't like Jaden for a while when we first got her was playing like hitting her with socks in the face, like kind of like haha, teasing her, and I'm like, no, I want her eating every pair of socks we have. Hey, doofus, what are you doing? Yeah, good girl. Except for the eating shoes, that's not a good girl. Okay. Come on, you. Go get your food. Hey, go get your food. No, you leave that. Okay, so I take it then that Connor will accept that responsibility.
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is Knox is the drunk, Linwood is good kid, Miller is a hothead. Tell me a positive encounter you've had with Knox, the drunk.
Oh, the drunk?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, before Connor was in charge of him, they probably would have drank together. I can see Knox, behind the barracks, probably imbibing. Connor has probably joined him on a few occasions.
Nice.
So
nice. Tell me a neutral encounter you've had with Linwood. Just a memory you've got of him.
Neutral memory, probably just training then.
Okay. So he's maybe around the same age as you then.
Or a bit younger. But yeah, either around the same age or just marginally younger by a couple years.
And tell me a negative encounter you've had with Miller, the hothead.
Oh, so I'm assuming Miller is generally a hothead. Connor has probably heard him speak out either against Landon or Alistair, which would not have pleased him. He's probably had words with Miller, letting him know exactly how he feels about that. So, I mean, how that encounter transpired, or how it ended, I don't know, but
okay. Okay, so the trip to Denerim is, so this is Ferelden here, And Denerim is located right here. And let me try and get it in a little further there. Here we go. There's Denerim there. And your, oops, where are we here? The white things here, these are the different roads, so the major imperial highways that cut across Ferelden. These were built centuries ago by the Tevinter Imperium when it occupied Ferelden. Down here is the Brisilian Forest. This is the big area near where you guys border, and your home is probably around here-ish. Just across the, there are the Dragon, what are these ones called? The Southern Hills. There's a series of hills or mountains that run along here. This is the Dragon's Peak, which is one of the major sort of geographical features in Ferelden and near Denerim. If you go just east of the, or west of that, and then south, that'll get to a little pass that leads to sort of the different holdings that border the Brisilian Forest and where you guys find yourself, where your homeland is. It is a 2.5-day journey from Oakheart to get to Denerim. And mainly that's because it's these are rough roads that you're traveling. These are nothing like the paved, leveled roads that make up the Imperial Highway. You also pass through a town called Burnville. Burnville is a town that has sworn allegiance to the Grey Dawns, the rival family. There are more people who what do you call it? Freemen who have sworn their allegiance to the Grey Dawns than to the Oakhearts. That's partly just because they're more. It's traditionally the way they sort of swing, and the Grey Dawns are quite powerful family. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they have like any noble rights to kick you out of there or anything like that. It just means that they're the law essentially in that region. So you'll be passing through that. While there is an active rivalry between the two families, and actually a quite heated one, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's an active war between the two. And that's not something that would necessarily benefit the Oakhearts anyway. There are just more of the Grey Dawns. Although, hold on, the one good thing is that so Oakheart Keep has never fallen. Even during the occupation of the Orlesian occupation, Oakheart Keep never fell.
Okay.
So you have that advantage to you. So we're passing 1 day's journey to there, another day's journey to the an inn called the First League, and it's sort of a roadside tavern, and then it'll be about a half-day's journey along the along the western road to get to Denerim. Now, it is not super common unless there's a specific reason you have to travel to a major center like Denerim. You probably don't go. So I'm not sure whether Connor has actually been before.
Okay.
I'll leave that to your discretion as to whether he hasn't. I don't foresee there being really a reason for him to have gone before. It's not like you need to. There is something called the Landsmeet that meets once a year, where all the freemen kind of cast their lot in with whichever with whichever lord they want to pay their taxes to and be protected by it. So you may have gone to Denerim for that, but that may have been because your character is quite young. That may have been a while ago. So Esmond is. Tell me about Esmond. He's like I said, the seneschal who runs the kind of takes care, make sure he's sort of the head of household of Oakheart Keep. Make sure the stores are stocked. That anything that doesn't have to do with the actual physical protection of the premises, he's pretty much in charge of.
Well, the way I see Esmond is he's just kind of naturally bookish, extremely bright, but enjoys his position as a seneschal. Has a strong allegiance to House Oakheart, and that forms part of why he enjoys his job. He feels that he makes a difference, and it's an integral part of why House Oakheart has been so successful. So he takes pride in his work, and for him, making these preparations are important.
Okay. That makes sense for why he would be the one to travel to Denrim then. Why he wouldn't task it to someone less. Okay, great. So anything you want to do to prepare beforehand? Anything you want to talk to? I guess if you meet with Esmond, what he tells you is that the plan is to travel to get to Denrim. They're going to stay at a place called the Staff and Sword that he says is where he can meet someone named a local contact named Luella. And Luella is going to put him in basically to help him find the things that he needs in order to make Alistair and the Templar, whoever this Templar is, at home.
Okay. So what are we traveling with? Several wagons. What's the nature of the caravan?
One wagon. It is a wagon, not a cart. And the three other men, Knox, Linwood, and Miller, and yourself.
Okay. And so I'll ask Esmond, what is it exactly that we're returning with?
A number of we need a number of different things. There are some so I understand that the Templar who is being sent is a particularly devout individual, which means that we need to acquire the appropriate regalia and accoutrements to make up a devout person's quarters. I will be looking for signs of Andraste, the prophetess who found whose death at the hands of the Tevinter Imperium led to the creation of the chantry. Books for the books about Andraste as well, the Book of the Maker, various oils and so forth that are used by the faithful in their practices. We can't have the Templar arriving to think that we're a bunch of heathens or heretics. We also, there are some supplies that Lady Oakheart would like to see obtained in order to afford Master Alistair a more appropriate wardrobe than she expects has been supplied by the Circle.
And of course, I can expect, Esmond, that we'll be bringing back a healthy amount of alcohol to celebrate Alistair's return.
That is something that Ben Landon has mentioned as well as a priority.
Excellent. That is indeed good planning.
Mm. So, anything else you wanted to get done before you hit the road?
Yeah, you know what? I'll have a quick meeting with Marzio because I kind of want to know what maybe some of the hurdles will be that I'd expect to face on the road there.
Sure. Marzio lets you know in a kind of a confidential meeting to first off, as a first command, we tried to give you men who you will be able to will be dependable, but the lure of the big city can be too much for some. Do not let any of your men and yourself either fall to women or drink while in the city. There will be temptations aplenty that you cannot contemplate at this time. In particular, do not let Knox fall to drink. The other more pressing concern is we will be I have my suspicions and have heard rumors that the other family. I'm trying to think. Let me think here. Would she bother to try and? No, it's just my. I have suspicions that the Grey Dawns will be continuing their intrigues against our Lord in anticipation for the in anticipation of the upcoming Landsmeet. I do not know what form that will take, and I do not know their involvement with these bandits. We still don't know where they're located, nor their firm numbers. If Lady Oakheart had not been so insistent, I would have been reluctant to send or to allow Esmond to go to travel such a long distance for such relatively paltry, in my mind, supplies. But Our Lady does have her. When Our Lady makes up her mind on something, it is rare that anything on Thedas can move it from that point. So be mindful of the bandits and be aware, be cognizant of when it is a time to fight and when it is a time to protect your charge. Esmond is not, in his youth, Esmond was not in possession of the constitution necessary to undertake any kind of strong or difficult exertions, certainly not those that are required in combat. At his age now, those shortcomings have only been exacerbated. And take care with the old man. He wants to see both Our Lady pleased, and he wishes to welcome Sir Alistair home as well. While he may not be officially a Sir any longer, in the eyes of the family, he certainly is.
Are we expected to overnight in Burnville?
Yes, you will overnight in Burnville. Keep your head down. You can decide whether to travel while it is beneficial, whether it is beneficial to travel incognito. I have found that to be to my advantage at times, so you may wish to do the same. If you choose that approach, say that you are travelers from from Vintiver, and hopefully they should let you pass. The last league as well, it can get quite raucous. This time of year is not the busiest time, though. Now that the trade pass, the thaws have come and the Avari have retreated back to their mountain homes, the tradeway, the West Road, may be quite busy. So just try not to be overwhelmed by the experience there. And in Denerim, it should be 1 full day, should give you ample time for Esmond to retain his goods, and you can trust Luella. Luella is someone who I have dealt with many times in the past. I have no concerns about her her bona fides.
Thank you, Marcio. Your information is very welcome.
One last thing. No, actually, no. That's everything. Okay. So, anything else you want to accomplish before you hit the road with Esmond?
No. You know what? It can wait until I get back.
Okay. So you guys head out to, it is unfortunately another day or about a day and a half before Esmond is actually ready to go. You inform Knox, Linwood, and Miller, who all ready themselves to set out. You're all equipped with enough rations to or meals, I guess, to get yourself to Denerim. The expectation is you'll buy some stuff in Denerim to serve you on the way back. Actually, no, they'll supply you with that as well, I suppose. The cart is loaded with a few trade goods that will hopefully defray some of the cost of what you need to pick up in Denerim. How do you want to travel? Are you going to be traveling as an agent of House Oakhart, or are you going to travel incognito under a false banner? What do you want to do?
You know what? I want to take Marzio's advice and travel without banner at all. We'll go as under the pretense of being travelers from Vintiver. Possibly traveling to Denerim. Actually, the purpose doesn't really need to change. We're traders actually, so we're picking up from Denerim to bring back to Vintiver for trade.
Okay. So you guys head out, and the weather is it's overcast but not raining, and you set out fairly early in the day. You pass through Oakhart, which attracts a little bit of it. I mean, not any undue attention, but excuse me. One of the little kids kind of asks, Connor, where are you going?
Hopefully to bring you back something enjoyable on my return.
Yeah, I'll watch for you. How long will you be gone?
I'll let you know when I get back.
Okay, bye. And the kid kind of he follows you along, asking a couple more inane questions before he finally kind of leaves. You leave Oakhart. You pass your father's farm, a few of the other farms. You pass the Folder farm as well. Let me think here. You're heading east. Yeah, that would be the direction. The opposite direction actually. Once you pass maybe a mile or so beyond your father's farm, the road gets swallowed up by not swallowed entirely, but it is kind of crowded in by low, thin trees. The trees don't stand any they're these tall, thin kind of scrub brush type things that stand no taller than about maybe between 7 to 10 feet tall. There's still on your right as you travel along, there is the thick canopy of the Brazilian forest, but it is difficult to see the road ahead. The road is no wider at any point than about maybe 6 feet. So it's often basically, bushes being pushed aside by the cart. What sort of marching order do you want to set up? You can fit 2 people on the cart.
Okay. So do Knox, Linwood, and Miller not have their own horses, though?
No, you guys are all on foot.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys are men at arms. You're not knights.
I see. So you said 3 can fit on the cart?
2 can fit in the cart. I'm assuming that Esmond is going to be one of them, but you can fit 1 other person can kind of sit, shotgun with him,
right?
Or crossbow, I guess would be the case.
You know what? We'll take turns. We'll keep it fair.
Okay.
And
who's? I mean, like the cart, because of the nature of the road and whatnot, it's not moving. It's moving about the speed that you could comfortably walk alongside.
Sure. Yeah.
Where is everyone else then? Is anyone? Is the wagon kind of taking the lead with the everyone else behind, or what?
If the wagon's going at a walking pace, I'll have Linwood out on point.
Okay.
We'll take. We'll have Knox in the cart, and you know what? Miller and I will follow up behind the cart.
Okay. Okay. So the first day's travels, it's about 8 hours of travel through the winding foothills that border the Brazilian forest. It is, it's not easy going, but when you finally come, it's about maybe about 3 o'clock in the afternoon or so when you arrive at Burnville. Burnville is nestled sort of at the meeting point of 2 creeks that come down from the southern hills and then follow on into the Brazilian forest. The Burnville itself is sort of set in a bit of a valley that then rises up and then carries on kind of northeastern towards the pass between that leads out to the West Road. The town itself is maybe about 2,000 people. Is that too many? That's about 2,000, I think. No, it's probably actually quite large. So maybe 1,000 people. See, Denver itself is only 70,000. So probably 1,000 is a good size. I'm going to cut that in half actually to 500 people. But there is a inn and tavern in town that you guys can expect to stay at. You guys, Burnville itself is surrounded by, on the other side of the creeks, there is ample farmland that has been cleared out that it has, even this relatively late in the day, I guess. 3 o'clock isn't terribly late. This point in the day, there's still tons of either field hands or farmers who are out in the fields getting things ready for planting. You guys ride down into Burnville, and you make your way towards the what do you call it? what do you call it? The local tavern, which is called the Stubborn Stump. And what you can see is it's a the sort of sign out front has a kind of like a amber kind of field with a prominent stump of a tree set out kind of stubbornly on an angle in the middle of it, with the word "Stubborn Stump" set above and below. Oh, Dropbox is letting me know that I'm losing a bunch of data.
Nice.
Thanks, Dropbox. It's really a fucking shell game that they play with you. Hey,
Also,
you got 18. Well, here's your 18 gigs of Dropbox, and it's set up so that it automatically saves all your photos you take to Dropbox.
right.
But that the data, the room you only get is like every time you sign up a new device on it or whatever, they automatically give you extra space, but it's only for a year.
Really?
Yep. So there is a baseline of how much memory that they do allow you to have, but there's also all this extra free memory they give you, but it's a limited time for it. So before the end, I will have to do a culling of some things.
Have you considered just moving it over to Google Drive?
I should actually. I can't move because my Google Drive is. I actually pay for my Gmail for one of my Gmail accounts now, like a minimal amount, but I pay for one now just because I hit. When you open up your Gmail account, you're like, I'm never gonna. When am I gonna have 16 gigs worth of stuff in my email? It turns out you pretty quickly get that. Yeah. Yeah, I actually should look at that. I know I've got a bunch of extra space on that, so I could move a bunch of shit over. But anyway, so how are you guys going to play this to going into the Stubborn Stump? Hey, Trouble.
You know what? I'll act as the mouthpiece, and yeah, the company line is we're traders from Vancouver. All in the party are to act exactly as such, and I'm gonna put Linwood in charge of. I'm gonna take him aside and I'll say to him, look, under no circumstances are you to let Knox imbibe at all. This is your responsibility, Linwood. And if you feel that you can't fulfill this, at any point, you need to let me know.
Yeah, he looks at you with the earnestness of really a kid. And he's like, I will not fail you. He won't. So he will have nothing other than food tonight.
I knew I could count on you, Linwood. I'm thinking. I'll take the party aside and I say, look, let's try to get out of here as discreetly as possible. We will stay the night. We will eat. We will retire to our rooms, and that is all.
Okay. Sit, Eddie. Sit. Hey, sit. Oh, good girl. Good girl. Yes. You lie down. Hey, we're gonna paw me. Okay. She already came up to look at my shoe again. Big jerk. It's my fault. I should have. I should have taken her for a stroll before I made dinner tonight, and I didn't. So, that's how she shows her displeasure, is by destroying my stuff. She's going, hey, get away from that. Get away from that. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm just going to close my window. It's I don't know if you can hear that binging.
Yeah. What is that?
The blinds hitting up against one of my bowls.
Oh.
Amy, your DM until I get. Okay. Okay. So the evening. Oh, sorry, Dave.
I may have to get up momentarily just to let Jet back in.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No problem. So you guys are able to secure a room at what do you call it? Burnville and or at the Stubborn Stump, and there's really no problem for you guys. Linwood manages to keep Knox from falling to drink at all. Part of it partly helped by the fact that you guys are kind of all sitting together as well. Esmond kind of keeps his head down for most of it. He realizes that he may be, he fears that since you're traveling in incognito, he's taking that to sort of a bit of an extreme. So he's got his hood up most of the time, and he's kind of keeping himself, as conspicuously inconspicuous as he can. He and the rest of you guys, I guess appear to be fairly well. You look like men at arms, I guess. Just the average kind of sellsword who might be hired to run security on a caravan. They may question how 3 or 4, well armored and well armed guys would guard one merchant, but that's not completely unheard of, particularly for the more successful merchants. Do you guys want to try and interact with the crowd at all, or are you going to kind of try and keep to yourself and then get on your way the next day?
Yeah. I think my my largest concern is just making it out of Burnville without incident.
Okay.
The last thing I need to have reported back to House Oakhart is an impending war between their sworn enemy. So.
Okay. So there is, thankfully, there's no incidents or anything that occur that night. And you're able to get up the next day. A somewhat displeased Knox, mentions a couple of times, is quite curt with Linwood in the morning. You guys are able to pack up your things and sort of get on the way. You guys are about, let's see here, you leave probably around 7 or 8 in the morning. So it's, fairly early. You are about maybe 2 hours outside of Burnville when I need you to make a perception hearing check for me, please. Remember, you're rolling 3d6 and keep an eye on the dragon die.
Yep. 11 and actually 5 on the dragon die.
Ooh, did you stunt? Did you roll doubles?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
1 second, Kev.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
That's quite all right. Okay, so you rolled. You did so well with the stunt die. You can hear the sound of someone shouting. The terrain is very much like what you had been traveling through, although it's getting a little more hilly. You're kind of coming up this rise, and then you're going to be heading down. As you're getting near the zenith of the curve of this part of the road, there's it's not thick in the sense that there's lots of it. It's just that the trees seem to go on forever in either direction. So it does obstruct your view within about 25 yards or so. But you can hear distinctly someone is shouting at someone else in a very displeased manner. And because you rolled so well on the stunt die, I'm going to say as well that you realize that whoever is cursing out this other person, their diction is a upper class, like the kind of speech patterns that you would expect from the nobility, not from a commoner.
And this is coming from behind us.
Yep. No, ahead of you, actually, what you're coming up to. You're coming up to the prominence and something over the rise, you think, and maybe wherever this road goes afterwards. It's carrying quite clearly, or rather, you're hearing it quite clearly on the breeze at this point. The person who is shouting says something to the effect of, if it's not fixed within the hour, then we'll fillet you and fix it ourselves.
Oh my! You know what? I'll take Knox with me to scout out ahead of, and I'll let Esmond know that if it's okay to proceed, I'll send Knox back.
Okay. Let me see here. Then what I'll ask you to do is to make a dexterity stealth check, and bear with me a second here. I'm just going to see what. Yeah, and you're trained in. You're wearing light mail, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so light mail, so you don't suffer any penalty to it. So go ahead, make your dexterity check. I'll make one for Knox. Okay, I rolled. I didn't stunt, but I rolled 15, so Knox is okay.
Okay, I actually stunted. That's 12. That's 15.
Awesome.
And 3 on the die.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you. Yeah. You're able to basically position yourself in a place where if you chose to attack, you would have +1 to initiative, +1 to the first round of attacks as well. But what you do is, I guess maybe describe it for me. What do you, how are you going to approach, like kind of travel over? Are you going to hug the road? Are you going to go off to the side a bit? Are you going to kind of try and tack around, or what?
Yeah, I think tacking around. We'll kind of hug the tree line.
Okay.
So I mean, to give us cover until we don't need it anymore.
Okay. Are you bringing any weaponry with you?
Yeah. You know what? I mean, not heavily armed. Both Knox and myself will pick one fairly innocuous piece of weaponry. I'll probably bring my throwing axes, actually.
Okay. So leave your great axe and your battle axe and your shield in the cart, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you guys are easily able to sort of sneak your way along, and what you come across is there is a group of about 3 horsemen and 3 other men on foot who are all sort of next to a cart with a broken wheel. There are 2 men who are furiously sort of working on repairing the broken wheel. And the person who is shouting is on a horse, and it's sort of the horse itself, or he's leading the horse angrily back and forth, sort of pacing with it. The other two men are sitting back, sort of watching this happen. All men are dressed in very, very drab armor, or very drab colors. All of the men, with the exception of the one who's shouting, seem to be wearing some kind of leather armor. The one who is shouting seems to be wearing a greasy old pair of some kind of mail shirt underneath his cloak. All the horses are unremarkable. If you had to guess, you would maybe think these were some of the Brazilian bandits. You never met them before, but the wagon is empty, and the men who are working on the repairs are likewise are dressed the same as the other ones. So it doesn't appear to be a raiding kind of thing. The person who is shouting is what do you call it? Is the one who has that accent. Can you make another perception check for me, please? And I'll give you +1. Perception seeing.
$13 and 4 on the stunt die.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you 4 stunt die. That's great. So you're looking at this guy, and as you see him pace back and forth, what he's got is there is a finely grown in thick black mustache. He is a thin man and small, but he's got dark eyes that, with the hood pulled up, they seem to almost be black. Bushy eyebrows. His hair is pulled back into a ponytail. And he's got about a day's worth of scruff that's sort of grown underneath, but the mustache clearly is something that has been in there grown in for quite some time, and is styled in a. It's not something that is a commoner's bit of grooming. You also spot at his waist. Now there's a sword on at one side of him that appears to be unremarkable, but for the other, there's on the other hip, there is a dagger, or the hilt of a dagger that's sticking out, and you distinctly, it's got a massive jewel in the hilt. This is a work of art, and something that is woefully out of place on a bandit. But of course, with a roll that good, you know that this isn't a bandit, because of course you recognize this guy. You've seen him before at tournaments and so forth, or other meetings of the noble families. This is Wyndham Graydon. Wyndham is the second son of Lord Graydon. Why he is dressed right now as highwayman or as a common kind of mercenary at best, you've no idea.
Okay. I'm assuming there's not enough room on the road for 2 wagons to pass one another.
No, it isn't. But when this kind of thing happens, you just drive kind of around it.
Right.
When 2 caravans meet coming on, one of them goes off to the side, the other one passes, and then the other one carries on.
Okay, so in the state that the wagon is, we wouldn't be able to pass them.
You could pass them. I mean, you just have to move around is all. You have to move around them. Like, this is not uncommon. And I mean, it may take a bit of maneuvering. I'm not sure. Are any of you guys? Let me see if there is I'm not sure if there's a focus for like caravanning or. operating wagons. Let me see. I know there is a riding focus.
Which I have actually.
Yeah, I just don't know if there is. Yeah, I think that if I can't find another one, then I think that riding is what I will. Yep, that's okay. So, oh, there is one driving. It's a strength focus, directing and guiding carts, carriages, and other wheeled vehicles. So, I'm not sure if any of you guys have driving, but your strength is pretty good though, so you may be the best one to attempt it.
All right. You know what? I'll send. Yeah, I'll send Knox back to bring the cart forward. And I'll actually introduce myself to Wyndham and the group, and ask them if I can be of any service to them.
Okay. So you step out on the road, and what do you say?
Good day, travelers.
Wyndham whips around, and his hand kind of goes to the sword, and he's like, "Who's that? Who's there?"
My name is Connor. We're traders from Vintiver. I see you've fallen on bad luck.
What are you seeing? What, have you been sneaking around there?
But it's quite obvious. Look at your wheel.
Never mind our wheel. What are you passing by here for?
Well, we're on our way to Denerim, and my party heard the commotion up ahead. So, as prudent travelers, we came to see what it might be.
How many are you traveling with?
There be 5 of us.
5, all bound for Denerim. Well, can you make a perception empathy check for me, please?
Yeah, I surely can. Oh, that's not good. 6. And I'd add my perception to that.
Perception and +2 for the focus of empathy. So +3 in total.
9.
9. Okay. Okay. So he, what do you call it? He kind of looks back at the rest of the group. He says, "Well, I don't know how you're going to get around this. Sorry to say, but this broken wheel, don't know how you're going to get around. Might just have to wait."
I mean, and in actuality, Kev, could we get around though?
Oh yeah.
Oh, well. So I'll say to him, Mr. And I'll just pause, waiting for him to give his name.
Okay. There's a bit of an awkward pause when he kind of is studying you, and he says, "Whit."
Mr. Witt, I've offered my services. If you do not wish to take advantage of them, we can surely try to go around.
Yeah. Well, he's looking around. The pass is washed out. The spring spring thaw was washed out the road ahead anyway. I don't know why they didn't. Did you talk to anyone in Burnville?
No. We were. We've been in a hurry, We have supplies waiting for us, and we didn't engage anyone in Burnville. How far away is the road washed out?
Oh, not far ahead. Some folks or some travelers ahead of us passed us. I'm surprised you didn't pass them on your way out. Did you leave Burnville today?
We did indeed.
Well, yeah. Well, as I say, when we were repairing this, they passed back. They must have left earlier than us and said that the road's washed out ahead. As soon as we get this fixed, we're going to turn back and see if we can get news. Go ahead and make another perception empathy check.
Another 9. Oh, actually 4 on the stunt die.
Okay, fortunately, no stunt because you didn't succeed. As you're talking, you see the road has come, crested and is coming down. Esmond is sitting at the what do you call it? At the sort of the reins, and they're coming down. What do you want to do?
I'll give them a signal to just to wait up there.
Okay. Esmond draws back on the reins, stops the cart from moving.
So, Mr. Witt, what needs to be done with your wheel here?
We can take care of it. Don't you worry.
All right.
You and your party might as well just turn back for Burnham or Burnville. You're not going to be able to get through. I don't think you can get your way around us. Sorry about that. And roads washed out ahead anyway.
Well, unfortunately, there's some urgency to in us picking up those supplies. There's a festival in Vintiver that we need to have them back for within a certain time frame. If it's all the same to you, we'll take our chances at the pass.
You see Witt kind of turns and looks back and forth the horseman with him. It says, finally kind of looks back at you and says, all right, you're lost. Your time to waste. We can't move our wagon though, so you go ahead and try and get yours around. He kind of trots off to the side with kind of a upright aristocratic kind of air to him. If it isn't clear, you having spoken to this guy now, this is Wyndham Graydon. It's not Witt. Whatever he's as much of a cock as what you have remembered and heard about him before.
Now, would any of the party have actually met him at any point in any fashion? Specifically Esmond.
It is possible that he might recognize Esmond.
Okay, I'm assuming they're at a distance far enough that and Wyndham isn't really, I'm hoping, focused on, because Esmond's on the card. So,
yeah.
You know what? I'm going to head back to the party, and I'll inform them as to who this man is. Shit. This could turn poorly. Look, so I'm going to I'm going to have a conversation with Esmond and let him know that we're going to try to go around. Esmond is going to stay on the road on the far side of the wagon. So as we try to pass, Esmond will follow, but keeping the wagon as a barrier. There's no point in trying to hide him in the wagon because Wyndham knows that there's 5 of them.
Because of the, like I said, Esmond has been sort of taking this, keeping himself hidden to kind of an extreme because it's his sort of first time doing this. So he's even traveling with the hood well up and whatnot. So he is about as well hidden as he can be in the middle, I guess, of the day. One thing I want to add too, actually, is when he was threatening when you were listening in and you heard him say that, what you also heard him say is that it actually wasn't for him to fillet him. He said, "I'll give you to the sisters for them to fillet you."
Do I know what that means?
The sisters? No. He has a sister, but you distinctly heard him say the sisters.
I'll ask Esmond about that, if he's got any, or actually any of them, Knox, Linwood, Miller. Does it mean anything to them?
No.
All right.
Not sure who would who would be handed to.
Well, I'll put it to Esmond then. If he'd feel more comfortable on the cart or walking beside it, because I mean, as it stands, 3 of us have to walk anyways.
He kind of looks around and says, "I'd sooner. I think that my disguise as the caravan says I don't think I would pass convincingly as a guard, but I fear that I may not be able to navigate this contraption suitably. Perhaps if one of you could take the reins, I'm happy to attempt it, but I would hate to have us, if that is Wyndham Graydon, in some disguise. I would hate to have us suffer the same fate that his wagon has on account of my inexperienced hands."
No, of course, Esmond. It wasn't a question of you driving the cart through it. One of us would certainly do it. Knox, Linwood, Miller, have any of you experience with driving wagons through these conditions?
Oh, Knox does.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, Knox will give you a bonus in total of +4.
Excellent. Well, Knox, I guess it's up to you. We'll give you whatever help you need.
Okay. So go ahead and make a roll for me. You get +4 to your result.
10. 14, I guess.
14. Nice. Okay. Knox is able to. It really isn't like what he had said before about it being so difficult and whatnot. The road is even getting off the path. The ground is fairly firm. There's not any marshiness or anything like that. So while it does require a little bit of bushwhacking on your part, you're able to maneuver around under the careful guise of Wyndham /Wit and his retinue. But you're easily able to maneuver around this and make your way. And Wit, for effect, as you're sort of when you approach, says again, "Are you sure all of you boys want to, all of you want to make this trip just to find a washed out road?"
We appreciate your concern, Mr. Wit, but it behoves us to at least try. If we're going to fail, it'll be because we made our best attempt and couldn't go any further, and not because we didn't try.
All right. If you're the one that's speaking for them, be it on your heads then. So he and the other horsemen kind of laugh as, rudely as they can at that. But you guys, what does shut them up a bit is how easily Knox is able to maneuver the cart around. And as soon as he gets back on the road, he turns to you, grins, and says, "Surely that's earned me a pint."
I'll give you 2 at the end if we get through this with our necks intact.
And he kind of cheers. He says, I'll be leading this thing for the rest of the way. Washed out road or none, we're getting to that pub." So you guys get back on your pass and carry on. Now, the road begins at this point to crest up towards the pass, and you're keeping an eye out for it. And the road is rough going, and it is a little, even for a relatively lightly traveled road or path, it is in kind of rough shape. But you're easily able to reach and crest the pass and begin to make your way down towards the West Road. With no washed out road. You're still sort of having a little bit, in the event that Wyndham was telling the truth, you do sort of think that, well, maybe it's on the other side, like the far side of the pass. But no, you're able to crest and get down to pretty much the back into the foothills without any kind of consequence. This is about another 5 hours of traveling or so at this point, but you don't know what he was talking about. Either he was lying or he was misinformed, depending on how generous you want to be about his bona fides in telling you about the washout. You're sort of thinking that it's only about another maybe 45 minutes or an hour of travel before you'll hit the actual West Road, and then it's just another hour or so until you reach the last league. But you sort of come around the corner, and what you see, you think it's a trick of the setting sun at first, but you see that the path is obstructed about. This is a bit of a straightaway you guys are on right now. That is about 70 or 75 yards of relatively straight path. The sun is setting, or at least low in the sky, so it's casting long shadows from these trees. But you can see that the path ahead is obstructed by something. It looks like something like a cart size or something similar. Would you make a seeing check for me, please?
Sure. 11.
Okay. You can see that sticking out of the. You kind of squint to see kind of make out more details on this, and what you can see is that there are things that are sort of sticking out at odd angles from the side. There's about 1 or 2 on one side and 1 on the other of the cart, and as you kind of look, you're like, oh shit, I think that's actually arrows sticking out of the side. There are no people, and as you at first think there's no one there, you realize that there are horses lying dead in the shadows of the path.
That's not good. Of the 3, who's the stealthiest?
Of the 3, Linwood, actually. He's pretty light in his feet.
Okay. I'll actually grab him.
Dexterity's a +2. You're probably as quiet as what Linwood is.
Okay. Linwood and I will lead a scouting party ahead. Wherever those arrows. So it's very obvious that the arrows came across the road into the wagon.
Yep.
Like directionally, that's
from the side,
sticking out the front or the back. Yeah, from the sides. Okay. Linwood and I will investigate and it's just forest, right, on either side.
Yes, it's scrub forest.
All right. Linwood and I will conduct some reconnaissance on either side to see how long perhaps this may have happened, if there's still a threat up ahead. Come with me, Linwood.
Okay, so you guys head out, and
We're actually going to. I want to investigate the actual cart itself first.
okay, so like go. So you're gonna sneak out, try and sneak up, and then investigate the cart.
Yeah, you know what? We'll start on either side of the forest and kind of just troll the edge of the forest to see if leading up to the cart there might be anybody there that is laying in wait for us. At the cart, Linwood and I will meet there to investigate it.
Okay.
You know what? No, that's a terrible idea. You know what? We'll pass. We'll make a pass through the forest, well beyond the cart, and if it's all clear, we'll congregate back at the cart.
Okay. Go ahead and make a dexterity stealth check for me, please.
Does a 9?
9. Okay. Well, 9 is what it is. Okay. So you and Linwood are you both on the same side, kind of, as you make your way up towards this?
Well, that's also 4 on the stunt die. So
you got to succeed in order to stunt.
Gotcha.
Probably not a success.
Okay.
You added your dexterity to that?
Oh no. So 11.
11. Okay, 11 is better. So yeah, you would be eligible for a stunt. So you guys make your way up. Sneaking through this. You sneak in about 10 yards to into the underbrush, and then make your way up. As you get closer, you realize it's actually 3 different carts. There's 2 other carts behind that likewise have what do you call it? Like arrows or bolts in the side and dead animals lying in front. You also notice that there are the bodies of slumped against, not slumped, but sort of slumped down to the side. There are bodies of the drivers of the caravan themselves with arrows sunk into their bodies.
How many hours till sunset?
It is probably about an hour and 45, maybe 2 hours to sunset.
Okay. So have we made a fairly thorough search of one side of the forest?
Yes. There doesn't appear to be anything. Like there's no one lurking in there that you've been able to find. The carts, from what you can see too, appear to still be fully laden. There's just and these are carts, not wagons, like what you had and like what the other guys had. These are relatively small, 2-wheeled things that are loaded up with goods. Can you make up another perception check for me? Perception seeing.
$12 and 4 on the stunt die.
Okay. You can see, so at first you didn't notice it, but under the middle cart, there is there's a form that is lying there, another human, like a human-sized form that appears to be in the shadow of the cart, curled up and still.
No arrows protruding from it, I'm assuming?
No.
I'll tell Linwood just to hold on for just a second, keep his eye out for anything that you might see suspicious. I'll approach the form and bend down. Is it a large form? I mean, can I tell if it's a woman, child, man?
Adult human.
Okay.
As you get sort of closer, you realize it's a man who is sleeping. There's an actual bedroll that's been sort of laid out, and there's he's got something balled up, and it's lying on the side, and you can see his his chest is moving up and down as he breathes, and his back is turned with his face towards you, but his eyes are closed.
I'll rouse him. Give him a shake on the shoulder.
Okay, so you rouse him, and he jerks awake and looks up, and then looks around and says, "Took your time."
What happened here?
Kind of looks up at you, and there's a bit of confusion in his face, and he says, "Oh my God, you're not with them, are you?"
With whom exactly?
And he kind of jumps up from underneath and kind of scurries further back underneath the it's still in his sort of bedroll, and says, "You're not here to take these. You're not with the ones who. You're not here to kill me, are you?"
Well, that depends on your story. Kev, can I tell if this is an act of his?
Go ahead and make a perception empathy check.
$15.
15. It appears to be a bona fide. I mean, it's weird that what he said at first, but he appears to be genuinely freaked out and terrified of you.
Just remind me, Kev, what were his words exactly when he first woke?
When he first woke, well, actually, you know what? You may have just missed it. Because he just kind of said it so quickly, and then it was gone. So,
What is your name?
my name, Brinley. Who are you?
Brinley, I'm Connor.
Connor, what are you doing here?
Well, I can ask you the same thing given the circumstances. When you awoke, you were waiting for someone. Who are you waiting for, Brinley?
No, who are you? How do I know you're not here to kill me? To finish the job that you started?
If I don't get a full accounting right now, you will be joining the party.
His eyes kind of get wide, and he looks and he's like, "I'm just a merchant. I'm just traveling with my uncle. That's it. And 2 other men. We're merchants out of Denerim."
And who were you expecting?
I was expecting no one. We were expecting to travel on through. What do you mean?
And yet when you woke, you asked me what took me so long.
I asked what?
You asked me what took.
You must be mistaken. I was tired. Look at what. Oh my God. Who are you with?
Brinley, who are these people? Are they yours?
These. And he stops and he kind of, his eyes are starting to well up a little. And he says, "My uncle and 2 other colleagues of his. We're merchants. We're traveling from Denerim." Wait. And he kind of blinks back tears and he says, "I think they're dead."
I'll do a quick head count. Are there three other bodies?
Yes, each of the carts has someone sitting on them, and like the wagon, there's enough spots for two people to fit on them. But yes, there are three dead men on there. Can you make another perception? Actually, I got to take a quick piss. Can you make a quick perception check for me as well?
Sure.
Let me know how you do.
Okay.
How'd you do?
14.
14. Okay. So this guy is dressed like a your average merchant. He's got robe clothes on. The kind of stuff you would wear for. It's not poor man's clothes, but I mean it's for comfort and for travel, less than for what do you call it? For show. The one exception is that this guy is wearing a vibrant red scarf that is sort of tucked into his traveling clothes and hangs out. It is the one thing that is, it looks like a fine silk. It's quite noticeable and, unusual in the same way of like, say, someone wearing, like a tuxedo and a ball cap.
So, Brinley, how is it that you came to be sleeping amongst your dead family?
Why? What very well could. When they attacked, I hid. I ran. Like a coward, I ran. And then when I finally couldn't run anymore, I hid. And then as the hours passed, I came back. And look what I found. What was I going to do? It's 2 hours to get back. I have no horse. I couldn't leave Uncle's belongings. What was I going to do? I had nothing to sleep and hope that someone would come along. But God knows why anyone would be along this trail.
Now, you need to be very honest with me, Brinley. Did you do this?
His eyes get wide. No! Of course not.
Kev, did Wyndham's party have bows and crossbows?
They go ahead and make a cunning check for me.
Ten.
10. Not that you can recall.
I'll ask Linwood
If
he remembers if they had any.
they had, there were two of them who had, he thought short bows on their on the side of their horses, but only two. Unless they're inside the wagon, but the wagon, from what he recalls, was empty.
Brinley described who did this and what happened exactly.
He says it happened so fast. The bandits, road agents, highwaymen. All I knew is I heard my uncle scream. the others, and arrows and shouting, and the horses screaming. I ran.
How many horses do you remember?
3. And he sort of nods his head. He says, now, you're not going to kill me, are you?
Well, I don't intend on it.
Connor, who are you with? Are you a guard? Are you a merchant?
We're traders coming from Ventiver.
Then you're merchants.
We are.
Then you're fellow travelers of the road, like me. Right?
We are.
So he kind of scampers closer to you and comes out and he says, do you have a wagon then?
We may.
He kind of comes out and looks and he says, then we need to move this. We need to lash your horses. They're still alive, yes?
Yes.
And strong? How full is how many carts, how many wagons?
We have but one wagon.
1. Is it full?
It is not.
Then, are you the merchant? Do you speak for him?
I do speak on his behalf.
And you know your master. Is he a greedy man?
He is a man of good finance.
A man with a good head. Then he kind of rears up. I would speak to your merchant then. Trader to trader.
And what would you like to say to him?
That is a matter between me and him. We cannot leave these goods here, can we?
And where were you taking them, Brindley?
Where are you going?
Well, back to where you came from.
Then that is where I will go. Are you heading to Denerim or are you heading west?
We're heading right into Denerim.
Then you will be passing the last league along the way.
We intend to.
I can make arrangements there, but I cannot leave these goods on the road. They're too valuable. So I will speak to your merchant. I believe there's something that can be done. Can you go ahead and make a perception and empathy check for me, please?
Uh, 11.
11.
If it actually makes a difference, it's 2 on the stunt die.
2 on the stunt die. Yeah, well, it is just this guy seems, for someone who's lost part of his family, if it isn't apparent, he seems remarkably over it relatively quickly. He's not lying about anything. It's just that he seems, you would think that someone would be less concerned. It could just be the merchant in him, but this is unusual for you. If your uncle or any member of your family was killed, it's unlikely that you'd be primarily concerned with making sure the goods are secured. But in any event, that's, like I say, it doesn't seem to be lying though. So where is your merchant then? Waiting to see if this is safe then, I imagine, yes?
And what is it that you're traveling with?
We have assorted trade goods, all of which are very valuable, too valuable to leave behind. Whatever, so
And
I will pay handsomely to have them transported.
do you not feel it would be appropriate to bury your family at this juncture?
Oh, of course. I mean, but the bodies will not be going anywhere. I can arrange to have them transported back. The carts will, of course, be easy to find, but the goods, if someone else comes across the goods, my uncle would not wish them to be lost as he was.
Well, I don't think he has much say in it at the moment.
No.
But if you wait here with my man Linwood, I'll speak to our merchant and see if he'll have words with you.
Tell him
I'll go back.
there's much that there is profit in it for him. I am no. I recognize the position I am in, and appreciate that it will be putting him out.
Kev, am I able to sense at all if he's if he may be he may have been a remnant of Wyndham's party, or in league at all? Am I getting any sense that this is part of a ploy that they may have left him for this purpose?
Well, what I can say is that, I mean, as far as you knew, at least as far as the direction that wagon that Wyndham was bitching about, that was pointed in the direction of where you guys have been traveling. So it was towards this direction. So you got the sense that that's what, and you didn't pass Wyndham earlier on, and they were, so I guess that wouldn't make a difference one way or the other. But no, he seemed to be heading in this direction. The three wagons were heading towards the pass, so they effectively would have been sort of traveling in the same direction towards each other. He's not dressed any similar to how Wyndham's men were.
There's very little chance that that their paths would have crossed earlier. Then
no. It would have been impossible. If Wyndham was traveling from Burnville towards the pass, they would have met. Like they're traveling from two different destinations.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'll go back and talk to Esmond and basically let him know what it is that we found, and if he's willing to talk to Brindley.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Jay just got off work. Okay, so he says, of course, and I would, as a fellow traveler, I would appreciate him speaking to me. So you leave and head back to speak to Esmond.
Yeah, and I'll actually bring Esmond to Brindley. Are there any markings on any of the carts or on any of the people at all that may indicate what merchant house they're with?
You know what? I don't know whether you would know one way or the other.
But that Esmond would identify.
Oh, Esmond might. He can try. I'll make a roll for him for cunning. Maybe he'll luck out here. But I rolled pretty well and I stunted. But he still doesn't. I rolled 16 and I got 4 stunt points on it.
Okay.
Without adding his cunning. I don't think that what he can tell you is that if there are the markings on each of the kind of wagons, they indicate that they're sort of all part of the same group. So It is he hasn't heard of these. Actually, no, with that good of a roll, um, yeah. Um, uh, he says, "Well, I think that." Um, he says, "What you described um, is uh, probably." Um, the It's probably Bancroft Waters, and his he makes a run once a year through the whole region, through the border of the Brazilian Wood, trading with us, the Dalish Elves, and some of the other communities. Um, he's dead, you say,
It would seem.
and who's this survivor?
He claims to be the nephew of the uncle.
A nephew. I didn't know Bancroft well enough to know his family, but I know he traveled with some associates. Dead. Why did they not take the goods, though? The carts are full, you say.
They are. And that is indeed a good question. I've got a really bad feeling about this, Esmond.
What do you want? You are sold, Connor. You are the one in charge of security. What do you suggest?
Knox, Miller, scout the other side of the wood. I still don't. I don't feel that that this is that the area has been rendered safe. Esmond brings up a very good point. If they were indeed bandits, why have they left all of the goods? The fact that that Brinley was sleeping under the cart and seems completely unconcerned about his family is both personally disgusting to me, but just doesn't make sense.
Esmond's eyes kind of, get. He kind of rolls his eyes and he says, "If you are," never, Connor, underestimate the depths to which some men might stoop in pursuit of their own interests. All is not as life is at Oakheart Keep. But what do you want me to do then?
Speak with him, see what he'll propose. My feeling on it, though, Esmond, is that really we leave him here with his goods, and we can tell him that when we reach the first league, we'll send for help for him. But
Esmond kind of his eyes, he kind of looks at you and says, "Is there a chance he's telling the truth?"
I suppose that there always is a chance, but we take the risk of being laden with these goods, which is a risk that we needn't take. That's not our purpose.
If there are bandits between here and there, surely some extra goods would not make a difference as to whether they attack. And as you say, I mean, the goods are all there still. I speak only, the Maker speaks of mercy. And if this man, however he seems, is telling the truth, and is innocent of all these activities, would we not be leaving a man who has just lost his family to fend for himself, and perhaps with worse coming behind if Wyndham is able to repair and come up? How charitable do you think he would be to finding one in this situation?
This man that you speak of is the same man that showed absolutely no concern for his recently dead family, and more concern with the goods that he carried.
Perhaps he's desperate. A man that has lost all his family is only an unkind traveler away from losing all of his goods as well. I know Bancroft Waters was everything he owned. He nods towards the carts is there. That's how these kind operate. If this is all that he has left, he may in one fell swoop lose both all of his family and all of his material goods. I'll defer to you. Obviously, security is your matter, but what harm can be done by transporting him and these whatever remains of his uncle's supplies to Burnville and ridding ourselves of him there?
And yet, if it is a trap, we end up being at his mercy. Certainly, if whoever did this to his party realizes that they may have left someone behind, we may be targeted as well. Again, we may be targeted anyways. Esmond, why don't you talk to him and see what it is that he's proposing, and perhaps I'll make my judgment there.
Very well. And you feel
Hang on just a second, Kev.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kev.
That's okay. So Esmond kind of rides the cart up a little closer, or the wagon up a little closer to the caravan. Brinley Waters is standing at the front of the caravan, about maybe 20 feet ahead of the last dead horse. Kind of pacing back and forth with Linwood next to him. And then as he kind of straightens up and seems quite eager to speak to Esmond when he approaches, he comes forward and kind of shakes his hand. They talk for about maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then Esmond kind of nods and says, makes a gesture as if like, hold on a moment, turns and walks back to you. It says, well, what he proposes, I agree that he seems odd. But what he proposes is for transporting him and his materials, or and his goods back to Brownville, back to the last league. He proposes to pay us a sum of 200 silvers, which is a lot of money. This is an extraordinary sum, and it could go some way to defraying the cost of what we need to purchase in Denerim. Unless you can think of a pressing reason why we should not we should not assist him. This could be quite beneficial for us and for the family.
I will defer to your better judgment, Esmond. All right. Agree to the deal. Let's get his goods loaded, and certainly if Wyndham is on his way, let's put as much distance between he and us that we possibly can today.
Okay. So Brinley asks for you guys to help load the or transport everything from the caravan, or rather the wagons, the carts to the wagon. The wagon ends up incredibly stuffed. It is crazy full. Brinley tries to convince Esmond to dump the stuff that you guys were transporting, the lumber, but Brinley is having none of it. He says that, unless he's prepared to pay for the goods, then he's having none of it. He sort of, Brinley is not prepared to do that. So just basically, there's some stuff that is left behind, but it's even to the point where the wagon is crazy over filled, and Brinley is struggling with a big kind of burlap backpack, full of stuff that he says that he will transport himself. He offers each of you 10 silver to carry a similar backpack as well, just to bring more of the goods back.
Well, boys, that's 10 silver that you can spend on anything you want.
The Knox kind of grins and he says, "Beer." And so that hops down and helps take it up. Whatever is left, under Brinley's direction, you guys kind of hide in the woods, or in the scrub trees that are around. The bodies are likewise transported and left there. Brinley gets you guys to do the heavy lifting on that as well. And then the carts and the horse carcasses are kind of left there. It's getting quite, at this point, you'll be traveling in the dark for at least an hour. So once you sort of get all that stuff done, you guys hit the road again and you carry on. The path, you're having to go a little slower just because of the very, very long shadows at this time of day. But you travel the rest of the path without incident, and you make your way up onto the western road, the major highway. Now, the difference here, if you haven't been to Denerim before, this is unbelievable. As far as you're concerned, this is like traveling on the floor of the finest rooms in Oakheart Keep. It's unbelievably level and dry and flat, as you roll along the highway. The last hour is with you guys tromping along with the moon rising up before you. So the moon is partway up the sky when you finally come across a palisade surrounded, surrounding a series of buildings. One building that has a plume of smoke coming out from the chimney, and a second one that appears to be some kind of stable. The palisade has, so you guys make your way up towards it, and you can, Brinley kind of hops down and runs up and bangs on the door. There's a little latch that opens up. "Who's there?" And Brinley says, "It's me. It's Brinley Waters and others." And the open up. We want to spend the night. And the guard says, Waters, didn't you leave today? Or did you forget something? And Brittany says, no, look, there's no time. Just open up. We're coming in for the night. There's 4 of us, 5 of us. The guy opens closes the little slot, and then the big door is pulled open, and this guard who's wearing mail and carrying a spear kind of looks out, says, "Where's your uncle?" And Brindley kind of rushes past him and says, "That's a long story." And he looks at you guys. Says, "Who are you then?"
That as well is a long story. We met Mr. Waters on the road. We ourselves are traders that have now become business partners of Mr. Waters.
Huh. And he kind of looks back. He says, "Did his uncle finally give him the boot then?"
Well, not quite like that. Mr. Waters may very well be the sole proprietor of the business.
Yeah, you see this guy's face kind of drops. He says, "What do you mean he's dead?"
That's a story for another time.
Ooh,
It's late.
He says, "Late it may be. First, sir, I'll get your names. You plan on spending the night at the last league. We take names here."
So I'll give them the names of the party.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you're traveling on to Denerim?
We are.
All right. Well, if you're planning just to, he explains the costs of boarding there for the night and stuff like that. And he says, well, you find so that the beds are warm. So the beds are warm and they're vermin free. With food and drink inside, and that Knox kind of gives a little whoop cheer. He says, but first, was it roadmen, road agents, highwaymen?
You'd have to ask Mr. Waters. Quite honestly, my friend, what we found was disturbing, and Mr. Waters wasn't able to give a proper accounting of it.
Where did you come from?
We were coming from Burnville.
It's the pass. You're coming down through there.
That's right.
And was it on the pass or was it on the highway, the West Road that you were set upon, or that Bancroft was set upon?
It was just past the pass.
So on this side.
That's right.
God's maker. That's terrible. Well, if any are, did you see any of them? Did you encounter any of them?
We didn't, which was strange.
Their work was done when you arrived.
Indeed.
And somehow that one escaped. Isn't that just fair? Yeah. Truly, so we are forsaken by the Maker.
Well, all is not lost. Mr. Waters was spared.
Well, I appreciate you letting us know. If there are others who are heading up in that direction, we'll make sure that they're warned. Please. It's been no doubt a long trip for you as well. You can store all your goods up in the barn. Keep your beasts there as well. We'll keep everything safe. There's a watch
Thank
on.
you.
So he lets you guys pass through. Then he closes the thing up again and kind of goes back to his watch, which is basically a little like a little hovel that is built next to the entrance. So you guys head inside or head in. You check the goods in. There is in the barn. There's sort of a little area where you can store. When you get in there, you see Brinley is talking to some guy there. It seems to be a bit of an agitated conversation. And then Brinley kind of turns back to you to come to you guys as he walks over, and he's shaking his head. He seems quite perturbed about something. He says, all right, and he says this to Esmond. He says, you said you were heading to Denerim, is that right? And Esmond says, well, yes, of course. He says, if I pay you a percentage of what, I can pay you a fee. They say that I can't store my goods here, which is outrageous. Can I have, we fit everything on as well. If I can acquire another pack horse, it's only a half day's travel to Denerim. If you could bring me as far as Denerim, I can arrange to have new credit from the bank and arrange new transport. Esmond kind of looks at you and says, perhaps it's something we should discuss once we are fed and have had something to eat. Brinley says, oh, of course. Perhaps then. And maybe I can make alternate arrangements. We'll have to see. If we can leave the goods on the wagon for the night, though, that may save me the effort of having nowhere to store it. And Esmond kind of turns to you and says, do you take any issue with that?
Will the goods need to be guarded, Esmond?
He turns
We
back.
cannot keep it in the barn.
Brittany says, oh, they will, but says, they'll pay for that. They'll watch it. They'll watch the carts.
And so what Brinley's proposing then is that we basically carry his goods the rest of the way to Denerim.
Yeah.
And why was it that he wasn't able to secure his own?
What you figure is that he thought he would be able to secure a space to store his stuff here, and then that he could then somehow arrange travel elsewhere. Can you make a perception check for me, please? Perception seeing.
$16.
16. Oh, awesome. Okay, so what you see is there are a bunch of there's sort of an area outside the barn where carts can be left and then kind of left in sort of a not a field, but like sort of a paddock, I guess, where kind of like where you would keep horses at one point, but the caravans are sort of parked in there. The horses and mules and oxen and so forth are all kept in the barn. Some are in the yard as well, but there's a kid who's kind of sitting and watching the what do you call it, the yard. So like you can sort of leave the cart here and have someone watch it. There's nowhere here that you can see, at least, where they would be able to store like warehouse goods or anything like that. So it's weird. And this is the first where the roll that good. You sort of look at Brinley and you finally begin to think like, hold on, I think he's been lying. Like the way he said that, if something else works out, that he'll, he seemed quite certain that something else would work out, I guess. And he didn't seem, now that you think of it, you think that that his anger at not being able to store the goods or like warehouse the goods here, it may have been put on. That's him making a show of fake anger for you.
So, you know what? I'm going to I'll have a confidential talk with Esmond and get his opinion on the whole thing. Look, Esmond, the boy is obviously lying to us. Now, whether it's simply to get us to take all his wares back to Denerim for him, or whether there are more nefarious reasons, I don't know. But the reality is he's not being honest with us.
Esmond kind of nods, says that I agree. His money, it was wrong to leave him on the road, but I don't see any reason why we need to continue our association with someone so suspicious, shall we say. Perhaps a good night's rest, and tomorrow we can let him know that his goods are his responsibility then.
I think that's for the best. From here, he and his wares will be safe until he can get transportation from Denerim to come pick him up.
Agreed.
I think that's for the best.
Agreed. So, is there anything you wish to do before you hit the sack?
Well, we're staying at the last league. We should probably have our meal there. I'd like to after Knox and Linwood and Esmond have all kind of, I'm assuming they're all leaving to the last league. I'll ask them to secure our rooms for us and start ordering our meals.
Okay. You guys are all
with the additional
share one room, I guess, and yeah, you guys all get a meal, and you're able to find, the place is very busy. You're able to find a spot, but it's kind of like crammed in the corner. Brinley invites himself to kind of sit with you guys. To be honest, it would be unlikely that he'd find another spot anyway. But you guys can feel free to tell him to, take a leap if you like anyway.
No, you know what? That's okay. He can sit with us as long as the rest of the party doesn't give a shit.
No, the other guys don't really care.
You know what? I'll look at Knox and I'll say, look, I promise you libations. I will keep my word. But you're having them upstairs when we're in the room after our meal is done.
He says, 2 meals with nothing to wash the meat down. You're a tyrant.
This is a take it or leave it proposition, Knox.
I will take it, and I will make up for it in the room. So you guys sit down. You have your meal. It's a really it's not a huge establishment, but it is really full. It makes up for it in enthusiastic conversations and so forth. Esmond retires to the room as soon as he's had his food. The lot of you, excuse me, Brinley seems to be watching the door fairly closely, and he seems to be not making a lot of effort in talking to anyone else here. For someone who says that he wants to, find alternate ways of getting his goods once he finds out that you guys won't take him to Denerim, he doesn't make any real effort to talk to anyone else apart from the innkeeper. And you're not sure what he has spoken to him, and they only spoke for about maybe 3 minutes or 4 minutes. As soon as the meal's done, Knox says, "Well, I'll be collecting my rewards and heading upstairs. I've got 12 silver to spend, and I don't intend to bring it back with me for my wife to save." So he and Linwood and Miller sort of get some drinks and decide to have make it a boys' night of it upstairs. What do you do for the evening? You want to go and supervise what's going on upstairs, or exhausted from the day as well, or you want to mingle with the crowd?
You know what? I'll probably ask around. Actually, I wanted to kind of go back to the barn. But before that, I'll take Linwood and Miller aside, and I'll say to them, Knox is not to leave the room for any reason tonight whatsoever. You keep him in his room. If he needs to use the facilities, he can piss himself for all I care.
Yeah.
This is on you two if anything happens.
We will keep him under control.
All right. Well, go have fun. I'll meet you later.
Okay. What did you want to do in the barn?
I wanted to talk to the guy that Brinley was talking to.
Okay.
I just want to ask him why it was that he wasn't willing to keep Brinley's items in the barn.
He kind of looks and he says, "What do you mean?"
Well, I didn't really understand why you wouldn't let Master Waters keep his wares in the barn.
She says, He didn't ask me about that. He asked whether we. He asked if we could, if we had seen another wagon and another group of travelers come through. I didn't understand why he was so angry. Clearly, he missed them, but he didn't ask to have anything stored here. Are you traveling with him?
Well, not for much longer.
His uncle seemed there was a scene between them. Apparently, so that he was only brought along to happy to avoid grief to Bancroft's sister. Such is the luck that he would survive, and a good man like Bancroft would be killed by highwaymen. The word is made around about what's happened. That's the kind of thing that as soon as it happens, everybody who's potentially affected, hears the story.
And what was the nature of the argument?
From what I heard, just you've met Brinley, is that his name?
It is.
Yeah, you've met him. Some are made for this life, made for the merchant life. Some it doesn't suit. But anyway, no, he didn't talk to me about that.
Well, thank you kindly for your information, sir.
No, thank you for giving me a break from dealing with these beasts. So, if that's it, so you otherwise get back in. The room is dying down a bit. Brinley's still up when you finally hit the sack. Do you sit up with Knox and have some drinks, or do you hit the sack like Esmond?
No, you know what? If the boys are still up, I'll have a drink with them. I mean, it's what we do together.
Okay, so yeah, the Knox tries to make a bigger evening of it than some of you. Esmond is remarkably tolerant until he finally, when it is quite late, he says, reminds everyone that there's a long trip tomorrow. Esmond is, or Knox is quite insistent that he'll sit and quietly finish his drinks. The next morning, Esmond wakes you, and he appears to be in the first one up. But he wakes you with a bit of a, his hood is up, and it's a bit of an exasperated look on his face. You blink at the lights. It's kind of coming through the slits in the wall. Knox and Miller and Linwood are still all snoring. Esmond says, "There is something you should see."
What is it, Esmond? Show me.
He says, "Better to see, my friend." And he kind of sneaks out. He's tells you you don't need to put your armor on or anything. You sneak out. You guys are staying on the second floor of this room. There's some other travelers who are sort of, you pass in the hall, who are coming from their own rooms, making their way down. The hall, the main room downstairs where you had been drinking and eating the night before has, it's about a quarter full at this point. And what Esmond does is sort of bring you to a vantage point on the sort of the stairs where you can kind of peer down without fully making yourself visible to the people down there. And he says, "Look at the far corner, the table there. Tell me if you recognize anyone." And kind of go down and peer out. Would you make a perception check for me, please?
$15 and 2 on the Dragon.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So you peer out. What you see is there is a group of 7 people who are sitting around this table, all kind of crowded in. Amongst the 7 is Brinley, who looks tired, but is sort of laughing and animatedly speaking to the group. The other 6 men are the 6 men that you passed on the highway. And as you look back, you can see that one of that number is, of course, Wyndham Greydawn, who seems as gleeful and happy to see Brinley as Brinley is to see them. You kind of look back to Esmond, and he shakes his head. And with that, I think we will call it a session. We will continue that at a time in future. So for those listening at home, thanks so much for joining us for the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. We will look forward to seeing you at our normal scheduled time in about 13 days. So we'll see you then.